Next at 9, fast-moving storms dump heavy rain and hail on parts of the Chicago area. Jim Ramsey tells you if we're done with the rain. Plus, 4 officers accused of perjury. The evidence prosecutors say proved they lied during a drug trial. David versus Goliath. A local family's battle to keep their property from being taken by a university trying to expand. The WGN News at 9 starts right now.
This is Chicago's very own WGN News at 9.
It is the only state university without student housing. Northeastern Illinois University broke ground last week, building the first of 2 dorms on its main campus.
But it is the use of eminent domain for the second proposed site that has some nearby property owners upset. WGN's Robert Jordan has the story.
I'll hold out as long as I can.
Bill Tong is an unlikely fighter. Most of the time when the little guy stands up against a much bigger adversary, the little guy loses. But Tong and many of the other business owners along a stretch of Bryn Mawr Avenue are fighting to prevent Northeastern Illinois University from seizing the property that has belonged to his family long before the university moved into the neighborhood.
It wasn't just a property, it was also our home. We have an apartment up on the 2nd floor, and I grew up here.
Tong's grandfather built the building in 1954 and ran a restaurant. His mother still lives upstairs.
We haven't even informed her that all this is going on because we wouldn't be able to explain it to her.
Last year, Tong received a letter from Northeastern stating they would like to purchase his property to build student housing that will also include private retail space. But Tong wasn't interested in selling. Talks quickly broke down, and the university began proceedings to obtain his property and others on the block through eminent domain, which allows the government or its agent to expropriate private property for public use with payment of compensation.
We were taken aback. We had had no warning, and down the road, my husband and I had expected to rely on this property to see us through our retirement years.
It appears the university is within its rights to condemn the businesses and seize the property all along the stretch of Bryn Mawr. But ethically, is it correct? Constitutional attorneys say in most cases you're crossing a thin line where there's sometimes an abuse of power.
What piqued our interest is that it's simply wrong. Even if it would be a good idea for NEIU to have more dorms, it's wrong to take people's long-standing businesses away from them for NEIU to enact its plans. It's not necessary.
Not necessary, he says, because NEIU has more than 60 acres of green space.
They're going to hand this land over to a private developer to build dorms that will also include new private businesses. And that's absolutely not what eminent domain should be used for.
The retail space is really an additional tribute to the need for the economic revitalization.
But University President Sharon Hawes points to declining enrollment and says dormitories are needed, even though commercial space for businesses will occupy the first floors.
I think this is the next chapter in Northeastern's history. We're the only public university without student housing.
And even though the university has offered to compensate the landowners in the area, Rosemary Beal and Bill Tong say their ongoing revenue streams will be lost.
It was not done lightly. It was done with great intention for a very good future.
But for Tong, that means tearing down his memories of the past.
It was my grandfather's life work.
Robert Jordan, WGN News.
Bob, thanks very much. What a story. There's now a bill pending in the state legislature, by the way, that would amend the Eminent Domain Act requiring universities to use land they currently owned first before they do something like this. We'll let you know how this story progresses.
Yeah.
Well, first it was iTunes, now it's Apple Music. Next, the tech giant announces its latest venture.